Hey, this is Calvin. I'm here at the Aloe flagship store in Beverly Hills, and thank you so much for joining us for our 30 Days of Mindful Movement Challenge. This week's theme is mindfulness. So for me, when I think mindfulness, a lot of it for me is just to slow down. So this class is going to be a much slower pace than a lot of the Vinyasa Flow stuff we have on the site, and it'll be a little more stretchy than some of the other classes that we have. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to be using 2 blocks today as my props, so if you have blocks at home, I would suggest maybe grabbing them. If not, you can always use books or something else. If you don't have them, I wouldn't stress it too much. So we're going to start with just some basic hip stretch. So we'll come into Sukhasana. We'll come facing the front of the mat. Scoot your hips back a little bit and take your feet a little wider. So make an effort to cross the legs towards the center of the shin. A lot of times we'll see people cross towards the ankles, and we're going to try and cross towards the center of the shin. And then just go ahead and walk your hands forward. Keep the hips rooted on the floor. Send the chest forward. Now those of you that practice Ujjayi breathing, you can start to breathe in and out of the nose, across the back of the throat. That would be awesome. If that's something that you don't do, don't stress it. If you hear that and you're like, what are you talking about? Again, just don't stress it. But through this class especially, make an effort to breathe kind of slow and smooth, and think about the pace of your breath as being a very important integral part of the practice. As you're here, keep flexing through the heels, so be active through the legs. And you don't want to feel any knee pain. If you feel like there's a lot of discomfort in the knees, consider scooting your hips back a little bit, or if you have tighter hips, you can always put your hips on a block or two and elevate the hips. That'll make it a little bit easier. And now from here, you're just going to start to walk the hands back and lift the chest up. Sit nice and tall with your torso. Take your right hand behind your hips and be on the fingertips. Reach your left arm high to the ceiling so you get a little extra length in the side body. And then we'll take your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Walk the right hand back a little bit and come into a slight spinal twist. Keep the hips rooted. Keep the legs as they were. And lift the chest as you just turn the shoulders a little bit towards the back of the mat. It's very easy to kind of sit back into the back hand and round, really make an effort to lift the chest and almost think a slight sense of back bend in the upper torso. And then look past your left shoulder and release your twist. From here, we'll switch sides. So the other leg goes in front. I started with the right leg for it. It's not too important. And then cross towards the center of the shin. And again, if you feel a lot in the knees, it's always a nice idea to just scoot the hips back a little bit so you can address the outer hips a little more efficiently. And walk your hands out, reach through the heels, send the chest forward, and slow your breathing down as you just enjoy the stretch. Now, as you're here, just kind of notice if the back is trying to round. It's always okay in these stretches to kind of relax a little bit, but make an effort to have a little more length in the front of the torso so you don't feel so much pull on the lower back, especially since this is the first stretch that we're doing during this class. Slow the breathing and just stay present within your posture. And slowly start to walk your hands back so that you sit nice and tall. Take the left fingertips behind your back. Reach your right arm really high so you feel a lot of length from the hip through the hand. The side body gets long. Right hand to the outside of the left knee. Take the left fingertips back a little bit as you lift the chest. Just turn your shoulders. Keep reaching through the heels. Keep the torso lifted. And look past the right shoulder, release your twist. From here, make your way into hands and knees. And in hands and knees, let's go ahead and turn your hands backwards so the fingers point towards the back of the mat. And just hold in the tabletop position here. Press into the heel of the hand so you get a nice little forearm stretch. Draw the navel in slightly. And just take a couple breaths. start to turn your hands forwards. Scoot your left knee back a couple inches, and then step your right foot forward. Take your blocks alongside your hips, I would say on the highest setting. And then as you're here, you'll come into a low lunge. Take your hands to the right knee. Kind of scoot your hips back a little bit so the hips feel more over the left knee. Draw the navel in so you're not just sitting in the low back. And then as you feel that lift of the low belly, you can bend a little bit deeper, keeping the lift of all four sides of the lower portion of the torso. And then take your hands to the block. Work your inner thighs towards each other so you're not just dumping the hips forward, but you're actively working to open up the front of the left leg. And that stretch can run up through the low back as well a little bit. Keep the chest high. And again, stay active through the legs the whole time. Now from here, take the arms up, hook the thumbs, pull them apart, and lift the forefingers up. You're not here for too much longer. Just see if you can feel like the torso lifts a little higher. The upper arm hugs in, and the arms are nice and active. So we just put a little effort into the arms through these lower body stretches. And release your hands down. From here, we'll take your right foot over to the right a little bit. We'll set your blocks up to the inside of the leg. And some of you can take the forearms down to the floor. Some of you will need the blocks on the highest setting. For right now, I'm just going to stick to the middle setting. And it's very easy to kind of turn the leg out, and that will change the stretch. We're going to actually get to that stretch next. But for right now, keep your right foot pointed forward and press your right knee and leg into your right arm. Reach the chest forward. Slow your breathing. Notice how the weight might want to shift to the outer edge of the right foot. Make an effort to press through the inner edge of the foot here as you have the knee drawing in. And just stay here a few more breaths. Now from here, keep your right heel where it is. Turn your right foot out halfway. So the foot turns out at about a 45-degree angle. And instead of pressing through the inner edge of the foot, allow the foot to open up. So you roll to the outer edge of the foot. And then keep the elbows down where they were. And it'll change the stretch. Most of you will feel it a little more in the inner groin and inner leg a little bit, as well as the outer hip, depending on where you're stiff. Same smooth breathing. Look for length in the torso here, especially the front body. Couple more breaths. And now from here, we're going to straighten the arms. I'm going to move the block to the left off the mat. And I'm going to have the palm flat down, having the arms straight. Some of you can keep the elbows or forearms down on the block of the floor. But for right now, we're just going to keep the arms straight, or I am rather. And then you're going to bend your back leg and grab a hold of the foot so we get a little quad stretch through the left leg. Turn the chest, allow for the right shoulder to open up away from the mat. And slowly release the foot. Move your block to the side and come into hands and knees. From hands and knees, we'll step your left foot forward. Your right knee will scoot back a little bit. The blocks will go outside of the hips. And as you get into the first version of the lunge, hands go to the knee and back up out of it. So you feel the hips above the right knee. You're a little more vertical. Draw the navel in slightly. Feel the lift of the front body. And then as you're there, keep that lift and ease a little bit deeper into the left leg. The hips face forward, the inner thighs work towards each other. And my legs are really active here. Then take the hands to the blocks and lift your chest up as you keep all that work. And it can be very tempting to just sit into the front leg as much as you can and push the lower back forward. But we want the lift of the back body and essentially just good posture in your torso. And that'll help us to stay out of the lower back. Now from here, start to take the arms up, hook the thumbs. If you remember which one you hooked in front the first time, change it. If not, it's no big deal. Pull the thumbs apart as you lift the forefingers and feel like the arms help to extend the side body up. And emphasize the lift of the back body instead of just pushing the lower back forward, just like in the last lunge. One more breath. And we'll take the hands down. Left foot's going to move to the left a little bit. And then we're going to take the blocks. For today, for me, middle setting at home, adjust it accordingly. And then you'll take your forearms down and press the left knee into the left arm. So you'll notice for me, I'm a little stiffer on this side, especially today. So it's a little extra work to draw the knee in, and that's fine. But the work really starts in the foot for me. So press into the inner edge of the foot. If I get sloppy or lazy with the foot, then the knee just drops open. So the foundation is always the most important part of the pose because the foundation works its way up in our postures. So press into the inner edge of the left foot, keep the foot turned forward, and then draw the knee in as you send your chest forward to whatever degree your body allows you to, and breathe into the stretch. Now from here, we're going to keep the left heel where it is. We're just going to turn the foot out about a 45-degree angle, and instead of pressing through the inner edge of the foot, the bottom of the foot's going to lift off the floor so the outer edge of the foot holds with the mat. And then just breathe into it, same stretch. Last few moments here. And then we'll move the block to the right off to the side. I'll keep the arms straight. Begin to bend your right leg and grab a hold of the foot. If you can grab the outside of the foot with the thumb up, that'd be great. If you need to grab the inside of the foot, that's okay as well. Or even use a strap or towel to hold the foot. Turn the left shoulder up towards the ceiling. And then slowly start to release the foot. Move the blocks to the side and come into hands and knees again. Press the whole hand down, reach the chest forward, and then just step one foot forward, and then the left, come to standing at the front of your mat. So as you come to standing, we started with a little hip stretch. We'll come into a basic standing posture that works a little bit of balance, and that's going to be tree pose. So take the right leg into tree, and make sure the foot is above the knee, or if you have to have your foot on the inside of the knee, I'd actually suggest going a little lower so you don't push that joint in a direction it doesn't want to move. Now in tree, allow for the right knee to shift forward a little bit, firm the glute, and then open the knee up. So your hips are facing forward, and then reach your arms up, straight up towards the ceiling. Wrap the outer arms forward, Root through the standing leg, which in this case is the left leg, and breathe into it. If your balance feels strong, you can look up a little more. You can even close the eyes. If your balance feels a little off today, you can look down or forwards. We won't keep you here for too long. Be very, very active in the standing leg. So really press that left foot down. Feel like the left thigh lifts a little bit as the foot roots down, and energy lifts up through the torso and arms. One more breath, and then we'll release the arms down and set your right foot down. Have the hips face forward, so we want the hips to face forward the entire time. And then we'll take your left leg into tree. So the foot goes to the inner thigh, and the knee opens a little bit as the glute firms, but the hips face forward. The chest faces forward, stand tall in your torso, and then lift your arms up. So wrap the outer arms, really reach up, try to extend the side body up through the arms and hands, and breathe deep. When you pick a point to focus on with your gaze, make an effort to stay with that point of focus. So as much as the eyes like to wander, that actually makes the balance even more challenging. So pick whatever point you want, and then try to really focus there. See if that helps you a little bit. Use the right leg a lot, so root the foot down as you feel the thighs lift, and then be strong with the arms, active. Kind of lift them with purpose. Feel like you're lifting weight out of the legs, so that right leg doesn't have to do any extra work. One more breath, and release it down. From here, put a little bend in your knees, hold onto your elbows, slowly roll down towards the floor until your torso touches your thighs. Let the hands come down to the mat and slowly work towards straightening the legs, a little or a lot. And then bend the knees, let the torso touch the thighs, head hang, and straighten the legs. We'll do that 3 more times. Bend the knees and straighten the legs. Just get a little sensation in the back of the leg. Bend the knees and straighten the legs. And one more time. Bend the knees, straighten the legs. Now from here, let's step your left foot back into a runner's lunge. Walk your right foot to the right a little so your feet are about hip width apart. And then take your hands to your hips and lift your chest up. So we did a whole lunge series on the floor before we came up to standing. We'll kind of take advantage of that for right now. So bend into the right leg, put a nice bend in the back leg, turning your hips forward, draw the navel in so the back body's tall, and then let's reach your arms up for a crescent lunge. We're gonna hook the thumbs and pull them apart, and stress the width across the back of the shoulders as you lift the side body up. And then the back leg is bent for right now. And for a breath, we're just going to straighten the leg to intensify the stretch across the front of the leg, and then bend it. We'll do that 2 more times. Straighten the left leg out, and then bend it. Straighten the left leg out, and then bend it. Now let's lean out over the right leg and straighten the back leg. Because of the position of the torso, straightening the leg won't disturb the lower back here. Take a couple breaths. And take your hands down to the floor. From your hands at the floor, step your left foot forward to meet your right, feet about hip width apart. Inhale halfway, and then step your right foot back. So adjust the feet so they're about hip width apart. That'll help the balance and the posture. Hug your left hip in, have the knee over the ankle, more or less, and then hands to the hips. As the hands are on the hips, turn your hips forward. Put a bend in the back leg. That'll bend the front leg a little more, but it'll also allow for the pelvis to be a little more upright, easier. So breathe into it, and then arms go up. Hook the thumbs, pull them apart, lift the torso up out of the hips and pelvis. Keep a nice bend here in the left leg, and then the right knee's bent. So let's just straighten the leg, get a nice stretch across the front of the leg, and bend the knee. Straighten the leg, and bend the knee. Straighten the leg and bend the knee. Release the arms down, lean out halfway, and then again straighten the leg as you find a slightly deeper bend in the left leg. Chest reaches forward, arms reach back, so the neck is nice and long. Take a few breaths. and then hands down. Step your right foot forward to meet your left. Inhale halfway, and exhale fold. We'll take 2 half sun salutes. So inhale all the way up, reach your arms high, hands together at your heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Hands to your heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Now from here, we're going to step your left foot back. Set the knee down and grab a hold of your blocks. Place them outside of your hips. As you send your chest forward, we're going to straighten the right leg for a very basic hamstring stretch. So send the chest forward. Try to avoid rounding the back too much so you can get into the back of the leg more than the low back. And just pause here for a few breaths. So we'll start with the toes up, and that'll address essentially the plumb line of the hamstring. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the right foot and just turn it in an inch or two. And you'll notice the stretch changes, moves to a different part of the hamstring. And then we'll turn the other way. So we'll turn the leg out a little bit as you send the chest forward. And come on back to the center. Bend into your right knee. And then we're going to take the hands to the heart and just twist to the right. So a very nice little low lunge twist. Keep the chest up. And release your twist. Hands come to the block. Shift your weight back to the left knee. And then set the right knee where the left knee is. And extend your left leg forward. As you draw the left thigh back, send the chest forward more or less. Hands stay on the block. So we're not worried about getting to the leg. You just want to stay long in the front of the torso. And that'll allow you to stretch the back of the leg a little more efficiently. And again, we're starting with the toes up so we can get into different parts of the hamstring through these different angles. Now we're going to change it. So turn that left foot in, just like an inch or so. And you'll feel the stretch shift. And then let's turn the leg out a little bit as you draw the thigh back and send the chest forward. And turn the toes up, shift forward into your knee, take your hands to your heart, and we'll twist to the left. Hook the elbow to the thigh, keep the chest more or less upright. And then take your hands down. I'm going to have you turn towards the right side of your mat as you come to kneeling. And then we're just going to add a little side stretch in here. So take your left leg out, put the heel on the floor with the toes pointed up. You'll reach your right arm up towards the ceiling or sky, depending on if you're inside or outside. And slide the left hand down the leg, creating a little bit of a side stretch. Try to look past the right hand or maybe underneath the armpit. Be nice and light in this left arm. and come back up. Take the hands down to the blocks, set your left knee down, extend your right leg out, toes up, heel on the floor, lift the chest upright, and then reach the left arm high and slide the right hand down. Keep the gaze up, turning the chest a little bit as you side stretch. Try not to collapse in the right side body. Stay long there as you stretch the left side. And come back up. Take your hands to the blocks. Set your knee down. And then we're going to move the blocks back towards the front of the mat. Turn to face the front of the mat. And just come into downward facing dog. Start with the feet nice and wide. Reach through the arms, bend the knees, lift your hips really high away from the hands. Firm the upper arm as you root all 10 knuckles down into the floor. Get the hips nice and high. And feel a nice long line of energy from the hands through the hips. And then keep your left knee bent and just straighten the right leg, reaching the heel down. And then switch sides. Bend the right knee, reach the left heel down. And bend both knees. Take the feet back to about hip width apart and work the heels towards the floor as you press the thighs back. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Set your knees down. We'll come into knees, chin, chest. So keeping the knees down, chin and chest come to the floor. Pause here as you reach the chest and the gaze a little bit forward. Draw the navel in slightly. And then slide through into a cobra pose. Lift the chest, draw the shoulders back a little. Press the feet down a whole lot. And push back up to hands and knees. Just like we did earlier, we'll get a little forearm stretch in. So turn the hands backwards and breathe. We'll turn the hands forward and sit back onto your heels. So thank you so much for tuning in for our 30 Days of Mindfulness Movement Challenge. Please make sure that you comment down below so we kind of know how you guys feel about these different classes so that we can tailor our future content to you and make it really more about you guys than us. Thank you so much and see you soon.